When it comes to the recognising of a Palestinian state by the UK government, what difference does it make?
Well, it makes a huge. What we should be doing as a country is working with the US to get those hostages back, to see what we can do to get aid into Gaza and try to solve some of that horrific humanitarian crisis that is underway there. And we should be ensuring that a terrorist organisation like Hamas has no control and influence over populations like that in Gaza. It's a horrendous situation. This is a reward for terror. Keir Starmer is bowing to his own loony lefty backbenchers, playing politics to protect his own interests as leader of the Labour Party. This is not in our national interest. It's not in the interests of Israel. It's not in the interests of the innocent people of Gaza who are suffering and undergoing some of the most horrific humanitarian crisis known to man.
Do you believe in a two-state solution?
I do. I think that's where we need to be. I don't think this furthers that situation. I think actually,
well, if you do believe in a two-state solution, you can't do that without recognising the possibility of both states, can you?
Delivering peace in that part of the world and delivering a two-state solution means working with both sides of the debate, working with both partners and being seen to be neutral. This is not being seen to be neutral. You are gifting the terrorists statehood at the same time as they're withholding hostages. There are people who have been held for 2 years in some of the worst possible circumstances. You've seen the imagery. You've seen these people starving to death. You've seen what went on the 7th of October and the atrocities that were committed against women and children who were murdered, slaughtered and raped. And now, today, we see Hamas celebrating this, telling us that this is a victory, that they've reached, met their objectives. This cannot go on. This is literally Labour, Keir Starmer, playing to his own backbenchers and putting our national interests, putting the outcomes for the people in the Middle East second to his own personal political ambitions.
Would a Conservative government rescind the recognition of a Palestinian state then?
We would have to see where we were. I think it's probably highly likely. The reality is that during the next 4 years, the circumstances over there are going to change. I think yesterday's changes do not make it any more likely that the situation will be resolved. It doesn't make it any more likely that we're going to see peace in the Middle East. In fact, we've just left a gang of hostages in these horrible, horrible situations. We've left Gazans in this horrific humanitarian crisis while he's playing party politics. The reality is we need to work with the US. We need to bring this change about as quickly as possible. And instead of empowering...
Hang on a minute, Matt Vickers, hang on. We only saw last week the Prime Minister having a bilateral meeting at Chequers with the President of the United States. They could agree to disagree public on the situation in terms of recognising a Palestinian state. But nevertheless, you can't say that they're not engaged in those conversations when evidently they are.
He is in disagreement with the US, he's in disagreement with Trump, who said that this is rewarding terror, and he's in disagreement with 9 in 10 of the British public. The British public, he is not speaking for them. The British public don't think this is right. They think that we should actually be doing what we can, using all the power and leverage we've got to get those hostages back.
Which didn't work for a Conservative government, and it hasn't worked so far, Matt Vickers, it hasn't worked so far for a Labour government. Benjamin Netanyahu's government in Israel is simply not listening to the United Kingdom, is it, at all?
We will not be able to engage properly with Netanyahu's government if we constantly pick the other side, if we show little interest in trying to get those hostages back, if we show little interest in trying to support the Gazans and the horrendous humanitarian crisis that they're undergoing. We actually need to be more neutral in our approach. We need to use all the levers we've got. We need to work in lockstep with the US to bring about an end to this horrendous situation and the suffering that is currently going on.
So let me just delve into that a little bit deeper. In lockstep with the US, which provides an awful lot of military hardware, weapons to Israel, do you think the UK should be doing that again then?
This problem will not be solved without the help of the US. The US is a huge force that is respected.
But in lockstep, following everything the US does, that's what the Conservative Party thinks, does it?
The US will have a huge part to play in bringing about peace in the Middle East. It's not done by Starmer appeasing his backbenchers and the loony lefties. who have very set views on this situation. We need to be neutral. We need to open our eyes, ensure that Israel complies with international law, ensure that that aid gets into Gaza to those people who are undergoing these horrific circumstances in this situation. This is not
being neutral. I appreciate you've mentioned what happened on October the 7th, almost 2 years ago now. Some almost 1,200 people lost their lives at the hands of that horrific attack by Hamas, and hundreds of others were taken hostage, many of whom still remain in Gaza as well. In contrast to that, at least 65,000 people, if not many more, have died in Gaza as a result of Israeli military action, which continues in Gaza City to this day, and something that a UN commission last week described as genocide. Do you think it's genocide?
Well, the UK government isn't accepting that that is a genocide. I think the reality is that however we choose to
Do you think it's genocide, though? I'm not asking you what the UK government thinks.
UK government doesn't think it. I think there are set legal processes that decide when this country thinks something is genocide. But actually, it's not about what you brand it as. The reality is there are people suffering horrendous situations in Gaza. It is, I mean, we've seen the imagery of kids starving, absolutely horrendous situation. This action by this government does nothing to bring about an end to that situation. We actually need to be more neutral. We need to be speaking to Israel to ensure that they comply with their international legal obligations. And we need to be getting that aid into Gaza. That should be the focus of this government, not playing in national politics with your own backbenchers, but actually trying to bring an end to this situation. Today is a step in the wrong direction. It's not bringing about the ends to that situation at all. This problem will only be solved when Hamas are dragged from power in that part of the world.
I would like to finish, though, if I may, with some national politics, and plenty of your own backbenchers are at risk of fleeing to a reform. We've seen that with Jake Berry and Andrea Jenkins, Maria Caulfield and Danny Kruger in recent days as well. At the same time, it seems an anonymous Conservative Party member, maybe even an MP, has set up an X account counting down the days to when Kemi Badenoch can be removed as leader of the Conservative Party. Is that what's being said inside the Tories at the moment?
No, now I know you guys are always looking for a story. I haven't seen this Twitter account.
We are journalists.
I'm right behind Kemi Badenoch. Boris is right behind Kemi Badenoch. He said she's got the zing and zap we need to get this party back into office. Robert Jenrick's right behind Badenoch. We're getting on with the job. You can look forward to our conference where we'll be announcing lots of policies and putting forward a real offer to the British people.
Matt Vickers, appreciate your time this morning. Thank you very much indeed.